Hey, good evening, everybody. Wanted to update you on what's going on with Henri right now. And we're continuing to watch Henri because Henri does have 75-mile-per-hour wind. So it is a hurricane moving its way off towards the north right now, about 18 miles per hour. So we are watching it very carefully because it's going to be drawing close to parts of the northeast, Long Island area, possibly within the next 24 hours or maybe even a little bit quicker than that, more towards the earlier or middle part of the afternoon tomorrow. So it's going to be a busy Sunday, that's for sure, especially for folks up there into parts of New England. Let's go ahead and show you what's going on with the app right now. I want to show you how we're looking at it and show you what we're talking about here. Now, the actual center of circulation is offshore. It's still off in the Atlantic. It's not over any kind of land right now, and it is moving its way off from just about Cape Hatteras. It's moving a little bit more off towards the north right now, and it's eventually going to be shifting its way over towards parts around Virginia. Oh, just want to check one more thing. Oh, okay. Let me just double check real quick. Okay, we had something drop off real quick, and that's the app's connection. Without that, you're not going to be able to see it. I can see it, but you guys can't see it. Hold on one second. It'll be coming back. What I want to show you basically are the statistics right now and actually show you the center of circulation. Kind of compare that with where it is. And it is still trying. Well, okay, we're going to go on from another part. We'll go over to WSI right now and work from there. And I'll keep checking out and wondering why exactly it's not going, but that's all right. All right, let's go ahead and talk about what we're looking at right now. Show you another thing here. So we're going to show you exactly where the center of circulation is with our hurricane, with Henri, and we can show you where it's expected to make some landfall here. Again, back out here towards parts of Long Island. You've got Long Island, you got the Long Island Sound. Then you got parts of, right there, Connecticut, Rhode Island, you got Massachusetts. That whole area is right generally in there. A hugely populated area stretching all the way from New York, all the way back to parts of Connecticut, and of course up towards Boston. That's where we're going to see some of the very heavy rain. In fact, very gusty winds also. The center of circulation right now looks like it'll be making its way across the eastern parts of Long Island. And of course, on the west side, not quite as windy, but still very, very gusty winds also still, but very, very heavy rain will continue there. Now, on the east side, again, that is on the right-hand side. That's where the worst weather is. That's where you can get those isolated tornadoes, and that's also where you're going to see some of the worst winds. And right around the circulation, you can see winds gusting up over hurricane strength as we continue to watch this carefully. Again, this is sometime during the afternoon tomorrow because this could easily change its approach there in terms of the speed. Right now, the speed's 18 miles per hour, but it could be a little bit faster or maybe a little bit slower as it starts to approach land. So we're going to have to watch that carefully. And then it looks like it will be diminishing down into an area of low pressure pretty quickly within about 24 to 36 hours. So we'll have to watch for that very carefully. Something we'll be watching. So again, the actual center of circulation is just now, if you look all the way over to the left here, you can kind of see the very edge where you go from North Carolina to Virginia here, right before you get to Norfolk there, and that is exactly where the center is. So it is moving its way northward, so it's getting its way off of the Carolinas. However, it is still causing some problems along the Carolina coast and up and down the east coast of the United States. I'm going to show you why in just a moment. Let's talk about some of the temperatures, or some of the winds expected as we continue our way through the daytime hours tonight and tomorrow. And as you'll be able to see, let me stop this down occasionally here. You can see as we get in through Sunday through the afternoon, you can see some of the very gusty winds, even over here where we're not looking at the exact center of circulation, where winds sustained up to 25 to 35 miles per hour in some locations, including over towards around Providence, Rhode Island. About 40-mile-per-hour winds they're expected, and you're starting to really see the winds picking up all the way northward up towards parts of New Hampshire, Vermont, and even back, of course, over towards Boston. You can see the winds anticipated at 30 to 35 miles per hour there. So very gusty winds expected, lots and lots of rain back to parts of New England here, all the way from, I'd say maybe Andover, just north of Boston, through Lowell, all the way northward up there. Once you get over the land area there around Portland, Maine, you're still eventually going to pick up some of the very heavy rain, but it looks like you'll be last in getting it. But eventually you will be seeing some of the heavy rain, and also over towards Springfield, over towards the western parts of Massachusetts. So again, we're watching that carefully. This is going to be the potential winds as we head our way through the daytime hours tomorrow and into our early Monday morning. As far as the arrival of the tropical storm winds, as you can see, coming pretty quick, that's for sure. In fact, we're looking right now at those winds really picking up very quickly. You can see the dark purples here getting in there as we head in towards Sunday. Again, we're looking at anywhere from about 10, 11 o'clock in the morning in around parts of Long Island and the southern sections of Connecticut and also Providence and right the southern parts of Rhode Island. Now, that's going to be earlier than some of the heaviest rain, but the heaviest rain is going to be right behind it. As you can see, that gusty wind is going to be continuing to move all the way back here into parts of southern Massachusetts, and that will continue to push generally off towards the north. So that's why we're looking for some of the worst weather to be anywhere from Connecticut to Massachusetts to the southern parts of Vermont and also New Hampshire as we get through the daytime hours tomorrow and especially into very early on Monday. Now, of course, not only are we talking about wind and rain coming down, but we're also talking about storm surge. That's going to be a big problem. We're looking at storm surge radiating all the way from Cape May there. That's the southern point of New Jersey. You head up through New Jersey and continue your way all the way up to the north, and you can see that it's going to increase from about 1 to 3 feet up to about 2 to 4 feet, even up to 3 to 5 feet once you get over here towards anywhere from just basically anywhere from the eastern sections there of Long Island and then back all the way towards Cape Cod. Yes, you're definitely going to see it in Nantucket. Also going to see all of that water, all of that ocean water getting pushed up against that. Just the way that it's angled, because as the actual hurricane moves its way northward, it's going to be pushing all of that water up against, it's going to just stop right on top of Long Island into Long Island Sound, and then all the way back over towards the southern sections of Rhode Island and getting into some of those bays also. That's where we're going to see problems, that's for sure, as far as the surge is concerned. Let's go ahead and talk about that a little bit more. And again, that storm surge is possibly, again, up to 3 to 5 feet, stretching all up and down parts of Long Island, as you can see. So it's not going to be just the section that's directly facing the ocean. It's going to be around the Sound also that's going to see a big problem. It's going to get all that water kind of shoved inside there, too. So you're going to see some problems out there with some flooding, and that's going to be a big problem also as we continue our way through the daytime hours tomorrow, and again heading into Monday, and as you can see all the way back over towards Nantucket and eventually over towards Cape Cod. So big problems out there also. Let's talk about the coastal impact, because as I was mentioning North Carolina here, even though the actual center of circulation of our hurricane is moving its way up a little bit farther at north at about 18 miles per hour, it's still going to cause problems out there, still throwing an awful lot of wave activity back up and down the Carolina coast. So it's still going to see some problems out there. So you want to stay out of the water, that's for sure. Even strong swimmers, unless you are a very experienced surfer, do not go in there either, because that could be a huge problem out there. You definitely don't want to find yourself in trouble, because some folks may do that. And again, this is North and South Carolina, so the waves will be getting picked up. Let's talk about the seawater temperatures, because I do want to tell you a little bit more about that, because a lot of folks are asking right now, in fact, looking up, we're looking a lot about what we're expecting as far as what it's going to be like when it gets up towards parts around Long Island. Now, the one thing that you do want to be careful of is say, oh, it's only 75. The thing is, it could always move up a little bit, maybe up to 80 or 85 miles per hour, because of the fact we have some very warm water, that's for sure, all up and down that section there before you get over towards Massachusetts. So we're looking at the water temperatures in the mid to upper 70s, up to about 80 degrees in some locations too. And that's why we're looking for it to maybe bump up a little bit in strength during the overnight hours tonight. Eventually, though, during the day tomorrow, as it does approach land, it will be running into somewhat cooler temperatures there with the water and running about 77 degrees. So it looks like if we do see a little bump up, we might actually see it drop down a little bit just before it makes landfall. That would be nice. We'd like to see it get down just as it possibly can before it even makes land. But even if we lose some of the wind, we're not going to lose all of that water that's being pulled in along with it. That's why we're going to see the possibility of some problems out there with flooding in some locations with all of that rain. Here's a look right now. I do want to show you the forecast models here, the spaghetti models. And as you can see, most of them do continue to bring them up into parts of Massachusetts and eventually off towards the east. But some of them actually keep them up towards parts of Vermont. Now, again, these are all models. They are not etched in stone. They are not at all. In fact, these are going to be changing constantly as we work through the next 24 hours. So again, things will be changing. I guarantee. That's the one thing I can guarantee. Can't always guarantee exactly what's going to happen weather, because it's weather and it does whatever it wants. However, I can guarantee that basically we're going to have to watch this very carefully, because it will be changing as Henri continues to move its way over here towards the coastal sections here around Long Island. here's what we're looking at also. Let me show you one more time here. The wind, as far as the radius is concerned, where we're looking at the storm force winds, and then we're looking at the hurricane winds. And as you can see, it's not going to be super wide as far as the hurricane winds themselves. They're going to be concentrated right around the center of circulation. But check this out. If you look at this, you see that little red dot there? That is where the actual center of circulation is. That's where we're going to see the hurricane force winds that are sustained. They're not going to last for very long, but they will be out there, that's for sure. And one thing I want to show is check out the next area, that orange area. That's going to be where we see the storm force winds. Again, this is going to be for a tropical storm, and that's going to be anywhere from 39 to 74 miles per hour. So again, very, very gusty winds there, and that does really blow up in the east side, the right-hand side of the actual center of circulation. That's why we do see, unfortunately, more damage, and also, unfortunately, that's where we also see tornadoes are on that right-hand side of a hurricane as it's moving its way inland. Again, the left-hand side, still going to see tons of rain there too. It just, the winds won't be quite as bad. Not going to see as much damage from the winds as far as wind damage is concerned. That will be coming in though, even if it hits the edge there of the eastern parts of Long Island, still going to be moving its way into parts of Hartford, definitely parts of Rhode Island. Not a big state, but boy, it's really going to be inundated by this, that's for sure. And as you can see, that's also going to include Cape Cod, Nantucket, and points north of there, eventually up towards Boston, Quincy. Yeah, you're going to see some very gusty winds also. And again, this is going to be shifting its way in throughout the day. Tomorrow, this is all the way through about 3 p.m. during the afternoon. And as I mentioned, the actual real strong force winds are going to die out pretty quickly, but what's going to be left behind will be gusty-ish winds. We'll call it that. How's that? But also, all of that moisture, all of that Atlantic moisture is going to be sitting smack dab on top of that. And it's going to be an area of low pressure by then, say by Tuesday and Wednesday as it moves its way off, but it's going to be dumping a whole ton of rain in areas that have already seen a lot of rain already, parts of New England. So they're going to see even more problems there once again. Here's a look right now. The steering, this is what we've been looking at. This is how things have been looking as far as why it might possibly make that little bit of a jog over towards New York City. Well, basically looking at it, it could be because of the area of low pressure that's just off to the west, also a high that's off towards the northeast, kind of shoveling it off a little bit toward the right. Now, again, this is only a model basically based on a couple of different things, the low and the high. So we're not for sure going to say that it's going to push over towards the western parts of Massachusetts. It very well could stay right in the middle of Massachusetts and then jog off towards the northeast and eventually move off shore a little bit quicker. If it does make a little bit more of a west jog though, it's actually going to sit over that same area over and over for about a day or two. And that's why we're looking for the possibility of some pretty gusty winds along with all of that very, very heavy rain moving through that region. So boy, a lot of problems expected, that's for sure. Let's go ahead and show you one of our STEM areas that we can show you, one of our STEM cameras. This one's from Boston College, and you'll be able to see that basically this is a time lapse, and it shows you how the cloud cover is, and really not too terrible right now, in fact, but again, things will be going downhill very quickly, but clouds are beginning to build, the wind's beginning to build, and of course all that moisture is coming in. Rain has already begun in many locations already, and that is just going to get heavier. It's going to start again all the way down towards Washington, D.C., but especially back to parts of New Jersey, and then eventually back out here towards New York City, and of course Long Island, then up into Boston, Connecticut, Rhode Island. That whole area is going to see just a ton of very, very heavy rain. So again, as you can see, that's looking back out there towards Boston, so you can see those clouds are definitely building very, very quickly. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on also a little bit closer towards Florida, because a lot of this moisture is being pulled up to the north as we continue to watch it very carefully here. So we're already looking at plenty of showers, plenty of thunderstorms. In fact, a day or two ago, really had very few showers. Yesterday picked up a few more, but today a lot of rain is picking up. So again, we've replaced somewhat dry air with all that moist air, and that's what's going to happen up through parts of New England. That is exactly what's going to happen. It's all that moisture getting back up there, and they're just going to see these storms one round after another continuing as you go through the next couple of days. So again, this is Orlando, Florida, and as you can see downtown, boy, they've had a lot of thunder, that is for sure. Picked up some very heavy rain, and there's more on the way. So again, quite a mess out there. So let me go ahead and check real quick, see what else we have going on as far as questions, if anybody has any right now. Just wanted to say hi for a few folks. A lot of people, their questions have been basically as you can see, it's, basically a lot of people are just saying, what exactly is it going to be like out there? And actually, one person, Stephanie, asked a good one. She said, is this going to happen again soon? And the thing is, right now, we're looking pretty good. We've got one area that we're watching that is way off in the Atlantic, and it's got a 0 and a 10% chance of developing into anything. Doesn't mean it's not going to, but right now, the good thing is when Henri is gone, we'll have a couple of days at least to relax and get things done. But we still have a couple of days of really having to deal with what's going on with Henri. Now, of course, as I mentioned, that of course could change at any moment. And for the folks who are asking what's it going to be like and where's it heading, basically we're looking at winds about 75 to 85 miles per hour. That's what we're expecting as it moves its way off towards the north. That's the good news. The bad news is it's all of that rain out there. The good news would be if it were to actually take a little bit more instead of a little bit of a jog as it's getting up towards Long Island over towards the west. If it would actually jog a little bit to the east, sorry about that, Boston, because it would take you to Boston a little bit quicker, but it would get the whole system out of New England a little bit quicker as opposed to sitting over towards the western sections around the Berkshires as far as the parts around Boston are concerned and parts of Massachusetts. So again, Massachusetts has a pretty wide area. So if you go over all the way to the west side for the Berkshires, you can see it. It's got kind of a little mountainous area. But if it gets over there, it's going to sit over there for a little while before it gets pushed off towards the east and the northeast. So again, watching it very carefully. Right now, again, it is still about a day away from possibly making landfall. Got a lot of time that we can sit there and watch it and get ready for it. Hopefully, if you're watching us from there, basically, if you're up there towards anywhere from New Jersey and northward from there, you're going to see some problems out there. You're going to see some power outages, things like that, which is one of the best things about having our app because you can actually check it out and see when some of those power outages are moving towards your area, and you can also check to see how many people are affected. And that's really what we're going to be looking at as that system moves its way, Henri, over the next 24 hours. So now is the time to get all of your stuff prepared. I mean, you should already have your plan. You should have had your plan actually at the very beginning of hurricane season, because everyone that can possibly get a hurricane should always have their plan. Doesn't mean you have to execute it. Doesn't mean you have to go out and buy everything from the store on June 1st, but always have at least a plan that you have kind of jotted down in your phone, wherever you want. If you're that great and you keep everything and don't mess it up and keep it in your brain, keep it there. Make sure, though, that you have it out there. And when things like this happen, hopefully you've already taken your precautions and you go out there and get some of the things that you needed, because there's going to be an awful lot of folks hitting the stores and things coming up today and maybe tomorrow morning, especially up in the northern parts. Massachusetts, you'll still have a little bit of time. Parts of the rest of the parts of New England, Portland, Maine, also back out towards anywhere from New Hampshire back out towards Vermont. So you still have time there, but really don't have any time once you get down towards Long Island. So again, this is the end of the time to get ready. You've got to get it done now. So hopefully everything will be just fine for you, and hopefully you've done your preparation. Of course, we'll keep you updated throughout the weekend. In fact, we'll be back a little bit later. We're going to check out what's going on about 8 o'clock, and we'll come back. We'll do another live shot here and show you what's going on once again. And we'll also keep you updated through the overnight hours. We'll be checking in periodically, that's for sure. Leslie will be back in. She's going to come back in with me again tomorrow. And as we continue to see things kind of advance as we go through the afternoon, we'll be hitting you with more information as we continue our way through the day. So definitely on the busy side, that's for sure, this weekend. And we're here to help keep you safe, that's for sure. We'll be back in just a little while, about an hour or two.